So if you've made a bad impression on a woman and maybe she rejected you, maybe she put you in the friend zone, or maybe she has you figured out and she kind of pigeonholed you as the nice guy that she's not attracted to, is it possible to change her mind? The answer is yes, and in this video, we're gonna give you 3 secrets to changing a woman's mind. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio, and I'm here with my friend Chris Anderson. And today we're gonna be talking about how to change a woman's mind if she has an unflattering opinion of you or just an opinion that doesn't allow her to become attracted to you.
Yeah, this is exciting because if you think, I don't stand a chance with this girl, I think I could possibly get her, these are gonna be things you could use right away to change her mind about you.
Yeah, because we've all been in that situation. Maybe, I can remember starting a job and there was a really cute coworker that I liked, and I just started off from like a weak, nice guy position, and I could tell that she just didn't see me in that way. And I'm like, you always wonder, like, is there a way to turn that around? Is there a way to get a second, can you get a second chance at a first impression? And there actually is, and we want to go through 3 ways to do it in this video. I'm going to let Chris take the first one.
Yeah, awesome. So we're excited about this. The first one I hear a lot in the coaching I do, and it's usually a guy. They started out seeing each other. Maybe you worked with her. You're in a class together, and you never made that move, right? You missed the window. So she has this feeling about you. She's made up her mind about you. This is a guy that doesn't go for it. So they'll say, Chris, how can I just feel like now I can't make a move. There's nothing I can do. I feel stuck. And I tell them the same thing every time. It's a little saying I have. You can write it down if you want. Escalation is attractive. Basically what that means is making a move makes you seem more attractive. And it makes you seem more attractive even if you haven't made a move in the past. So how do we get a guy over his fear, right? Because a lot of times we say it's not even the fear of rejection at this point with like a girl you've seen a lot. It's a fear of misreading the signals, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna go for it, and she's gonna go, you thought I liked you? Where did you get that idea? And it's really embarrassing. Like, nobody wants to have that. So here's how I get guys to wrap their minds around this. I call it the win-win, okay? Going for it, you go for it. If it works, or if it doesn't work, you are still gonna get points with her. That's what escalation is attractive means. You go for the kiss, you go to kind of grab her hand, maybe she's not into it, maybe she kind of turns away. But you can smile because in that moment she goes, wow, at least this guy goes for it. I look at him differently.
Yeah, I was telling Chris, it works in a variety of different ways. We were talking about this before the video, and I was telling him a story where it worked on the opposite end of the spectrum, where there was this girl that I had worked with, and I kind of always looked at her as sort of a friend. She was cute, but not like a girl that I ever really had any intention of trying to hook up with or anything. And we're out one night, a few of us from work, and we're hanging out at a bar, and we start to walk through the bar, and she grabbed my hand to like hold my hand as we walked through the bar, just for about 2 minutes till we got to where we were going, and then she let it go. But something about that like kind of gave me, like I started looking at her in that moment a new way because it sent that electricity down. I'm like, wow, and I think that's something a lot of guys don't understand is that when you make a move, when you introduce some element of, I had another situation where it was a woman that I had known and stuff. And when I first met her, I had a girlfriend. So I never really hit on her or anything like that. And then one night I was no longer with my girlfriend and we were out drinking, hanging out, and I did make a move on her and we wound up going for it. And she goes to me, well, I never, I always pictured you as like asexual. You never she's like, cause she was a really hot girl. She's like, all the other guys always like hitting on me, and you were always like, I was like, oh, he's all right, but he just seems like one of those guys. And just making the move, she goes, and then you hit on, and she goes, then you hit on me, and it was like, whoa, like that's another side of him. And sometimes you just need to show that other side. And if you're thinking, well, what if it's an ex-girlfriend? It's the same thing, right? Making that move again, or that female friend for the first time, or if you've made it in the past and it's been a while, doing it again could reignite that feeling. Escalation in itself is attractive.
I think what most of us do until you kind of learn this lesson is attract her. I'm 100% sure she's attracted. Now I escalate, now I make the move. What we're saying to you is making the move could be one of the things that makes her attractive. So when you do it, you're more attractive than you were before it. Just a quick caveat. If you go to make this move and it kind of doesn't work, as long as you show you weren't affected by it, right? Your face doesn't go, your body language doesn't slump, and you're like, hey, it's totally cool. I go for what I want. She's going to look at you as more attractive. He's a guy who goes for what he wants, and if he doesn't get what he wants, he doesn't pout, he doesn't look sad. That gives you the chance to try again later, which is awesome.
A side bonus is, and this is the last I'll say on this, is that this was something that took me a really long time to figure out too, right? Because I used to have that fear of more what Chris said, right? That fear, he thought I was interested in him and I felt like I'd look stupid.
Right.
And what I realized is that the sooner you make a move, right? If you're talking to a woman and you make your move, something in her mind goes, he expected me to like him, which means he's probably used to girls liking him. He's probably used to that, right? When you hesitate, you're kind of showing like, I don't expect you to like me, which means she thinks, well, girls probably don't like him. And we all know women look to other women to sort of determine how they should feel about you,
right.
Which kind of leads into our second tip in a second. But so by going for it and demonstrating that confidence, you're demonstrating that you're experienced in this, which makes her more attracted to you in of itself.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, guys, there's no downside to going for it. So you can't come here and tell me, oh, I couldn't go for it, I was scared. You're only hurting yourself. There's no downside. It's a win-win.
Can I just say one thing, Chris? Because I know the comment section we're going to get, what about Me Too and Harvey Weinstein and all that sort of stuff? We're not telling you to force yourself on her.
No.
We're saying make a move, right? Guys have been trying to kiss girls. In the situation, create a vibe and go for it, right? Respect her boundaries. This isn't about...
I don't even care if you go 90% the way there and give her the chance to go the other 10%. Hey, that's great if you feel like you might be overstepping your boundaries. Of course not,
Yeah, you're not going to disrespect anybody. This isn't about overstepping boundaries. It's about being a man and going for it.
Exactly. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to give you the second secret today for changing her mind about you if she already thinks she's made it up about you. Now, I came up with this because a lot of times when you know a girl and you've known her for a while, maybe sometimes it's not always one-on-one, right? You're kind of hanging out in a group of people. And this actually gives you an opportunity because usually what I thought when I hung out with the girl I liked in a group, I want to be right at her hip the whole time. I want to follow her around. I want to think I'm going to be doing, say things to make her more attracted to me. But what I learned is there's such an opportunity when you're with a larger group to be observed doing attractive things, and those things can change her opinion about you. I'll give you a quick story that maybe is kind of an obvious one. I liked a certain girl. We were all out at a bar in a group, and I kind of got word that, and I thought she was going to say she liked me. Her friend told me, hey, she really likes your friend. And I was like,
oh, that's the worst.
I go, I can't even believe this. I thought it was happening tonight. Now she likes my friend. I got to deal with this. But in that moment, I realized, I go, you know what? She has this opinion of me now. She likes my friend better. I can show her something she's probably never seen before. And this is something I wouldn't do in a normal situation. I immediately got up. I made a beeline for a table full of some of the most attractive girls you've ever seen, which you'd be scared to do in a regular situation. I got them laughing, I got them up, I got a number or two, all within eyesight of this girl. And when I got back, I mean, you talk about changing an opinion fast. It changed in a second. She kind of grabbed me and she goes, why don't you like me? And I said, well, of course I like you. What are you talking about? And then I'll just keep it PG, but we had a great night together. And it was all because in that moment, she had never seen me in that light. So that's something you could do in a situation.
Yeah, and it could be a variety of different ways, right? Chris's was more him actually going out and talking to girls, but it could be you leading guys, right? It could be bringing her into a situation where you have the confidence, right? And a lot of times especially when you're out with, let's just say a coworker or a female friend and you go into her world, you're kind of off balance there. She knows everybody. You're kind of leaning on her a little bit. But if there's a place where you have the situational confidence and you have more of the so-called like star power, bring her into that and let her see that there's guys that look up to you, right? There's guys that think you're super funny. There's guys like that.
What were you saying about like in college? Yeah.
Back in college, like there was almost like two Bobbies back in college, right? There was like the Bobby that worked, and then there was like the Bobby that lived in a frat house. And at work, I was just sort of quiet, introverted guy that girls just looked at as like the nice guy. But at the frat house, I lived there, I drank, I knew everybody. So I would always make a point to bring the girls from work. At some point I would be like, hey, I'm having some people over. And I'd invite them there because I knew when they saw me in that new environment where everybody kind of knew me in that environment and it would change their mind. And now if you're thinking, well, what if it's a girl I don't see? What if it's my ex-girlfriend and I don't have that opportunity? I can tell you another story with an ex-girlfriend of mine where She broke up with me. I could tell that she was like not into me anymore. And this was right before we were supposed to go on vacation together. We were going to take a trip to Mexico. This was years ago. And I think it was like MySpace, back in the MySpace days, because I actually wound up going to Mexico without her, right? We broke up and I'm like, you know what, I'm still going. I got 2 of my buddies to go. And we met these girls down there that we were hanging out with, and we became friends with them. I actually didn't do anything with them, but we had a lot of pictures of us in like Mexico at partying, and I posted them on MySpace, and literally a week later, she calls me, she's like, hey, we haven't talked in a while, and I'm like, where did this come from? And I'm like, oh wait, she saw my
opinion change.
So there's ways that you can use social media to do, there's a lot of and the thing with social media, we're not going to get into this now because it's a whole topic, is the example I gave you was very obvious, right? Posting pictures with a girl. It's actually better when you do it in non-obvious ways, a little bit more under the radar. There's other videos on the channel that talk about that, the non-obvious ways, but anything you can do that allows her to see you in a new light, or see that there's people out there that find you attractive, or even just see something different about you, right? It could just be you're out doing a new activity that she didn't imagine you would do.
The bottom line is you're never going to be as motivated as when I used to always have this when I went to a party and I knew the girl I liked was there. I was doing things I would have never have done. I was joking around with him before we made this video. I said, I'd be at a party and I'd be talking to these girls. I probably wouldn't have been as, approaching different guys and being entertaining and fun. And then someone would tap me on the shoulder and go, oh, Chris, the girl you like left 15 minutes ago. And after that, I wasn't as fun and as exciting. Yeah. I'm saying use that motivation when you're around the girl you like to do. You might not even know the level you could go to motivation-wise. So just use that to your advantage.
All right, so let's get into the third one. The third one is something that is about, we call it breaking a rule or breaking an expectation. This is especially true in a friend zone situation, because when you're in a friend zone with a girl, we can all agree that she consciously or subconsciously knows that she has power over you, right? Girls aren't dumb. So when you're in the friend zone, she kind of knows like, oh, I've got Chris, he kind of has a crush on me. And there's things she expects, right? She expects that if she asks you to hang out, you're gonna say yes, right?
Oh, wait, why would you say no?
She expects that if you guys are hanging out, you're gonna wanna stay out as long as possible, right?
She's the one who
goes, I'm tired, I should get going, right? You're always gonna be up, because there's that sliver of hope in your mind, something's gonna happen, so you never want the night to end,
never
right?
Be first.
So using that example, breaking an expectation would be you're hanging out with her, and an hour and a half into hanging out, you're like, I'm kind of feeling tired, you wanna call it a night? And now she's like, because something about her, whoa, what happened there, right? Like that feels, and even if on a conscious level, she doesn't realize, so something's different
They
here,
noticed
right?
that right away.
They noticed, because women are really in tune to the vibe, the dynamic, right? They can pick up on the dynamic, and when that dynamic shifts, right? If you're just tired, right? Or she asks you to hang out one night, and normally you'd be like, of course, oh yeah, anytime she asks me to hang out. But if she asks you to hang out one night and you're like, I can't, and the key thing to saying I can't is you don't give this long explanation, right? You're not, I can't, I gotta get up early tomorrow and it's gonna be really...
It takes the mystery out.
It takes the mystery, you just go, I can't tonight. And you don't say, how about tomorrow night or how about next week? I can't tonight. Because then she's like, whoa, is somebody else in his life? Because there's this ego thing. When somebody likes us, there's a validation we feel, and we like to know that that person likes us. And when we start to feel it disappearing, it's almost like, we're like, I need to get that back, right? And she's like, well, I don't have that power over him anymore. So when you introduce these very subtle elements of changing the power dynamic, it drives a woman crazy. It could be a coworker that in the past, if she asked you for a favor, you always had time to do her a favor. And this time, like, hey, I'm actually really busy today. You just saying no to a woman that you've never said no to is a very strong way to get her on the road to changing her opinion about you.
So another way you can kind of set yourself apart or kind of change an expectation she has of you is when you are hanging out in this group of people, and I know I used to do this all the time, you like we said, you're staying close to her, you're kind of following her around, it's almost like she's leading you through the party. Just be more autonomous and kind of go off on your own. Hey, even outside the group you're with, I used to do this all the time. You go to a place, a bar with your group of friends and this girl you like, I would go talk to different people. I would go talk to other girls. I would go talk to other guys. Just kind of step out of that and not see that you're so like attached to what she's doing and you're kind of living your own life. Now, it doesn't mean you have to ignore her. You can come back in the fold and say, have a little conversation with her. But it's showing that you can walk away, that you can step away from her, almost like you like her, but hey, I can do my own thing too.
Yeah, I've once told a client, he was asking me, well, how do I do it? What do I do? And I said, well, when you're with her normally, what do you do? He said, well, we just talk the whole time. And I go, do you ever text anybody or anything when you're on the, he's like, no, I don't even look at my phone. I go, next time you're with her, just be like very interested in your phone. Like be on your phone. You know how girls do that to guys and to us, right?
Guys, yeah.
They're like distracted. I'm like, be distracted with texting somebody or looking at sports. Like just be distracted, because she's not going to be used. If it's a situation where you've always given her your full attention, by
the phone
now
is now competing with her. She's like,
yeah,
what is
by
he doing?
now being interested in the phone, it's like, who's on that phone?
Right.
Are you talking? Is she talking to a girl? Like her mind starts going crazy, and that is what you need. That opens up. That alone, we say, isn't going to be enough, right? Just looking at your phone is not going to go. Oh, now I like him, right? But it opens up a window of opportunity for you to now reframe yourself in her mind using a combination of the things that we discussed in this video, along with several other things. One of the things that Chris and I had spent a really long time talking about, and this was actually, I got a lot of this from a speech that I was at years ago, where Chris was teaching at a conference about getting out of the friend zone. And he, the sort of the concept of that speech was that the friend zone is actually a good thing, right? A lot of people think, I don't want to be stuck in the friend zone. And I was sitting there and Chris was like, the friend zone is the best thing. And I'm like, what, this guy's an idiot. And then I was glued to my seat for like an hour as he's explaining it, because he's like, you have all these opportunities to do under the radar, very subtle things that not only change her mind, right? It gets her looking at you differently, but also slowly adds elements of sexual attraction that she needs to feel, right? Because point blank, if she doesn't feel sexual attraction to you, it doesn't matter how long you get along with her or how much you guys have in common. So what I did was recently, I go, Chris, we gotta teach this. And I wanna do a free class, and we put it together where he's gonna lay this out, right? We call it the friend she falls in love with. And it's all about a series of under the radar moves that you can do that not only change her mind on like, oh, I don't have this guy has figured it out, but also gets her feeling sexual attraction to you using very, very stealth tactics.
Yeah, I mean, we want to go into a little more detail on that because that's very important. Like today we talked about being observed, and it is. You have the access, right? The great thing about a female friend is you have the access to her to show these things about yourself, to be observed doing attractive things, to have her change her mind about you. We kind of want to take it to that next step where she feels that deep, deep desire and attraction for you. And that's what this class is all about. It's a free class. Yeah. Anyone can sign up.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a link below to register. We're gonna do it a couple times and then probably put it back in the vault. This isn't something we're gonna leave out. So if you're interested in this, you can register. It's completely free. It'll probably be about an hour long, because we really want to have the time to break down. There's a series of steps that Chris taught, 3 steps. Yeah. And I know that, like I said, I was blown away when I heard this for the first time. And I've actually now, and the reason I had him do this is because with my private clients, I was teaching them a lot of this stuff for the past couple of years. And I'm like, I just want you to do it. So I don't feel like I'm just regurgitating your stuff. And like also just allows me to, instead of explaining it, I go, here, just watch this class, because he's going to explain it way better than I can. So if you're interested in becoming the friend she falls in love with, then click the link below, register for the class. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment and let us know what you'd like to see us cover in future videos.